Recently, a file long hidden in the Los Angeles County Archives was suddenly leaked. Inside were not movie scripts or multi-million-dollar contracts, but autopsy reports of Golden Age Hollywood stars. And those cold pages revealed a horrifying truth: some were allegedly forced to take injections to keep national secrets quiet. Some carried traces of radiation no one could explain, and others turned to risky underground cosmetic surgeries to cling to fame, only to pay with their lives. In the end, which stars were named in these autopsy files, and are there more secrets behind the glamour of the stars? Everything will be revealed in today's video. 1. Marilyn Monroe. The mysterious death with an empty stomach and suspicions of forced injections. Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's golden icon, departed in a scene that left the world speechless. That night, ambulances flooded the lights around 12,300 Fifth Helena Drive in Brentwood. Neighbors crowded the gates, and police rushed to break open a locked door. When the bedroom was open, Monroe was found lying on the bed, one hand resting lightly on a phone that had slipped from her grasp. The scene was so chilling that a Los Angeles Times reporter at the site shuddered and said, "It looks like someone staged everything. Every detail is too perfect to call it a suicide." The autopsy report only deepened the shock. Tests showed barbiturate levels in Marilyn's blood and liver so high they could fell an elephant. But the strange part was that her stomach was completely empty. No pill fragments, no powder residue, nothing like a typical pill overdose. Dr. Thomas Nguchi, the notorious coroner to the stars, wrote clearly in his report, "This cannot be explained by orally ingested pills. Something doesn't add up." Theories exploded immediately. Some doctors suggested the drugs were injected directly into a vein or even administered rectally to avoid leaving traces in the stomach. Rumors raced across Los Angeles who had the power and coldness to stage such a clean death. The New York Times ran a bold headline: "The death of Marilyn Monroe leaves too many gaps." President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy were quickly pulled into the vortex of suspicion. It was said that Marilyn knew too many national secrets, even whisper-level conversations about the Cuban crisis. In a later memoir, journalist Anthony Summers revealed, Monroe once told friends she kept a red notebook recording everything she heard from the Kennedy brothers, and that might have been her death warrant. Not only that, years later, a nurse who was there that night went on NBC and recalled that when she saw Monroe's body, her first thought was of irregularity. It was too clean, too tidy, like a staged play in which the victim had no choice. That line hushed the studio, then unleashed a storm of conspiracy theories. Was this a political silencing or mafia intervention? The same forces that once wrapped Hollywood in a shadow network. The fallout was unimaginable. Monroe's death not only closed the life of the century's greatest beauty symbol, it also opened a door to darkness that Hollywood and the U.S. government did not want the public to see. In 1962, TV bulletins ran nonstop. Thousands of fans gathered outside the Brentwood home crying out her name. And to this day, more than 6 decades later, the questions surrounding her death have never been answered. Hollywood seemed used to scandal, but the Monroe shock forced an admission. No matter how dazzling the light, the darkness behind it is far more terrifying. And before the grief could fade, just 3 years later, another star left this world, not in a bedroom, but on a highway in a moment of tragedy that haunts the world. 2. James Dean, a face crushed in a Porsche crash. James Dean was not only the emblem of rebellion, he became Hollywood's enduring anxiety about fragile youth. The silver Porsche 550 Spider with "Little Bastard" scrawled on its body was a dare to fate. As it sped along Highway 46 near Chilean, locals said they heard a long screech and then a catastrophic collision with a Ford Tudor exploding like a bomb. In that instant, the blazing light of a 24-year-old star went out. When Dean's body arrived at the San Luis Obispo morgue, the forensic team was horrified by the devastation. The 2 a.m. report detailed an unnaturally snapped neck, a burst chest, and a face disfigured beyond recognition. His liver and spleen were pulverized, blood flooding the abdomen. A pathologist later told the Los Angeles Times, "I had never seen a body so destroyed. It looked like it had come from a Nevada bomb test." But what haunted the public most was not just the injuries. The cold room became a doorway into the secrets Dean left behind. While police were still filing reports, rumors spread through Los Angeles like wildfire. Dean was not only a rebel on screen, he was the secret lover of several powerful male stars. People named Marlon Brando once called the king of method acting. Confidential magazine reported that Dean showed up at Brando's West Hollywood apartment on many late nights after the streets were empty. Montgomery Clift, the star of A Place in the Sun, was also mentioned. Some private letters between Dean and Clift were said to have vanished just days after the crash. Tab Hunter, Warner Brothers, Golden Boy even confided to friends that Dean was the only one who made me feel less alone in this phony world. Playwright William Bast, a close friend and rumored lover, wrote years later in his memoir, "Jimmy told me he didn't care whether he loved men or women. What he feared most was loneliness." When placed alongside the autopsy report, these words made Dean's image even more enigmatic. A shattered body, and behind it, a heart craving love in the shadows. How did Hollywood react? Just a week after his death, Warner Brothers quietly sent people to retrieve all of Dean's personal papers from his small Sherman Oaks apartment. Neighbors said they saw trucks hauling away suitcases of letters, photographs, and journals. New York Post asked pointedly, "Is Hollywood burying the truth about James Dean to preserve the golden image?" Dean's death then wasn't just a tragic traffic accident. It became a symbol of sacrifice in an era when stars were forced to live two lives. One in front of the camera, dazzling and full of aspiration. One behind the curtain, silent and full of secrets. Decades have passed, but when people mention Dean, they remember not only the defiant gaze of Rebel without a cause, but also the cold autopsy sheets, the whispers of hidden relationships, in a Hollywood that did everything it could to conceal whatever didn't fit its polished image. And then soon after, another luminary, the true queen of the red carpet, appeared in the autopsy room. But instead of bones shattered by a wreck, her heart stood as a tragic witness to drug surgeries and decay from within. 3. Elizabeth Taylor. The Queen's heart stopped after 30 surgeries. Elizabeth Taylor was once called Hollywood's Queen, a dazzling symbol with legendary violet eyes and giant diamonds. But what was revealed in the autopsy room at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in 2011 chilled even the toughest witnesses. The report showed a heart enlarged to 1.5 times normal-sized valves, stiffened and weak. Inside were layers of scar tissue, traces of dozens of surgeries, some the public never knew. Brain surgery, partial bowel resection, even a failed experimental bone marrow transplant. Her liver had degenerated, her kidneys shriveled. Clear signs of decades of morphine, Valium, and Demerol. A doctor present at the postmortem told the Los Angeles Times, "When we opened her chest, we saw a battlefield, a body ravaged by scalpels and drugs." Even more shocking was the discovery in the lungs. Multiple scars from a secret cancer treatment in 2006 that the family had never disclosed. The coroners also noted repeated cosmetic interventions from chest and waist to cheekbones, done to keep a youthful look for the camera. Many journalists concluded that even in death, Taylor still bore the pressure to be perfect that Hollywood had chained her to for life. Alongside this private life, rumors surged beyond 8 marriages to powerful men. Many sources claimed Taylor had a deep relationship with Kate Thompson, the singer and lifelong friend. Medical notes also recorded that Taylor had suffered prolonged severe depression due to conflicts over gender identity and a hidden love life. The Daily Mail didn't hesitate to headline, "Elizabeth Taylor took to the grave, a shattered heart and forbidden love secrets." The aftermath was shocked worldwide. The public used to Taylor's radiant image in that violet dress at Cannes in 2002, or her opulent wedding photos had to face the truth beneath the diamonds. And glamour, her body had fallen apart to the point of no return. The autopsy room became the place where the cold truth was laid bare. Even a queen pays a terrible price for fame, for drugs, and for secrets kept for a lifetime. And before Hollywood could recover from Elizabeth Taylor's ravaged heart, another man, Marlon Brando, sent shockwaves through the public, not for violet eyes, but for a massive body, surgical scars, and long-hidden stories of same-sex relationships. 4. Marlon Brando. Morbid obesity and secret surgical scars kept out of sight. Everyone who entered the autopsy room at UCLA Medical Center in 2004 described the same feeling: suffocating shock. Before them lay a bloated body, over 150 kg, wrinkled skin, a distended belly, a swollen face as if it had fought an unwinnable war. And when the tag at the neck flipped, silence fell. It was Marlon Brando, once revered by the world. The autopsy report wasn't just dry lines of description. It read like a harsh indictment: a badly damaged liver, lungs ravaged by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, the clear legacy of decades of smoking and overindulgence. But what startled the doctors most were the